Joining us now live from Turkey is journalist with Al Monitors. That's Turkey's Pulse, based in Turkey. She is in Turkey. Her name is Tulin Daloglu. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope I got your last name right. I'm not great with Turkish.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
Thank you. These are remarkable images we're seeing from Istanbul. I wonder if you could sort of, first of all, give us the latest on these protests. Are they growing? Are they sustaining? Is the government showing any signs of cracking down?
It is difficult to quantify as to whether they're growing or not, but I can say with a definitive statement that they're not coming to an end. And I think that's more important. These protests started last week on Monday, May 27, as a frustration of a group of people in Istanbul who wanted to save some trees at the Taksim Square. They have been in consultation with the Prime Minister, with the Istanbul Mayor's office, but they were unable to make their voices heard. And at the end, the Prime Minister wanted to go ahead with his project and build an Ottoman artillery barracks there, which was built in 1780 and demolished in 1940. And, in order to do that, he was going to cut some trees, and people said, no, this is our, one of the last breathing zones here. We do not want you to do that. So about 500 people gathered there. It was very innocent demonstration, but the amount of force, the excessive use of force that's been used on these people on Tuesday brought thousands and thousands of people on the street, and on Wednesday it really got it turned ugly as the police forces also throw some tear gas or pepper gas into the tents, and so it got on fire. And these images, as they turn ugly and ugly, brought more people on the streets. By Friday, it totally got out of control, and it spread to other cities across the country, including Ankara, the country's capital, and now it's all around, like in at least 28 cities. So this is no longer about those dozen of trees at Taksim Square. It's more of a frustration, an expression of grievance to Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan's politicking in the last decade.
Wow, and I actually recently was in Turkey just about 7 months ago, and in Istanbul, the image and the presence of former President Ataturk, it was such an important part of bringing Turkey to sort of the European community and establishing a secular government in a religious nation, but drawing those very clear lines, I think, between a religious society and but maintaining a secular government. Many people have seen Prime Minister Erdogan as sort of moving away from that model, and is that part of the underlying clash that we're seeing here as well?
Well said. What I can also add is that the Prime Minister is very proud of Turkey's Ottoman heritage. When he talks about the Ottoman era, he always brings the glory of the imperialistic history. But when he talks about the Republican era, which was, founded in 1923, he always brings up those problematic chapters, the mistakes that has been done. And, Turkey is a democracy, but it's not a perfect one. It's an evolving one. It has a lot of work to do to strengthen its democracy. But people, by and large, are showing reaction to the Prime Minister because of his excessive desire to turn Turkey back to the Ottoman era. And they're basically saying that you're the Prime Minister of a republic, not an empire, so act as one. And so what you described is that, a good underlying point of what the, people on the streets are saying. Also, when the Prime Minister talked about rebuilding this Ottoman artillery barracks at the Taksim Square, he also said that he's going to build a mosque there. So people are basically saying that we have enough mosques here, but whenever you're, trying to, propose a project to us, don't come with a mosque. We have enough, and we are not able to fill in all of them. But the way how you're pushing these, religious symbols or the historical past of this country, which is, common to all the citizens of the Turkish Republic, they feel like the Prime Minister is overplaying his hand. And what we see on the streets is reaction is, testament to their feelings.
Hey, Tulin, Dan Bongino here. Quickly explain to us, where's the military in this? We know they've always fought against the intrusion of religion into their government life. Where are they now with Erdogan?
Well, I was talking to some people on the streets yesterday at Ankara, and the joke is that the military is behind bars.
Yeah.
Since 2008, there has been a serious crackdown on the military. There is an ongoing persecution named around Ergenekon, and the persecution has defined it as a terrorist organization. Former Turkish chief of general staff is behind bars, accused of being a terrorist, leading a terrorist organization, and there are more than 400 members of the Turkish military, both current and retired, who are being persecuted in this trial. So the military is no longer has a say in the domestic policy or any kind of policy of Turkey. It's truly the civilian rule now. The European Union has celebrated this. But, I think, whatever Turkey is doing, in trying to strengthen its democracy, it is somehow whoever comes into power is trying to overplay its hand, and things are, growing out of what they are really supposed to mean.
I see. Well, Tulin Daloglu, thank you so much for joining us from Turkey and giving us some insight here. We're going to continue watching what's going on there with these protests. Turkey, a very key U.S. ally in that region. Thanks again so much for joining us this